Good day. Thank you for inviting me for this awesome day of education for the nurses on International Nurses Day. I think the protocol has already been set. However, as a way of acknowledgement, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the Minister of Health and Social Services, also the Permanent Secretary of Health and Social Services, um, Sister Tutors, Director of Nursing, Hospital Nursing Manager, colleagues, associates. Thank you for having me do this presentation. My presentation is on the future of healthcare in a COVID 19 world. I want to start by taking you back to a hot day in July many years ago. One afternoon, my phone rang, and when I picked it up, it was my niece asking me to listen carefully to a grating sound coming from a dormant volcano, or rather, one that was considered to be sleeping. As time went on, huge clouds of ash, mud flows, pyroclastic flows, and hot gases propelled down to Plymouth, or tongue, as we would say in native tongue, destroying much more than our state of the art hospital, but also taking with it our homes, land, and friends and associates to the grave and distant lands. Needless to say, healthcare took a deep curve that caught us unaware and unprepared. The years 1995 to 1997 and beyond will forever be etched in our memories as the turning point for healthcare and everything else we treasured and held dear. The big question in our minds is related to the future healthcare and most specifically nursing for our nation. And we all know what happened next because here we are still trying to figure out the future of healthcare in paradise. When a system is hit with the shock of a natural disaster, such as we have seen, it is utterly devastating. Montserrat lost two-thirds of its habitable and agricultural lands and a similar percentage of its population. Over 8,000 people were forced to make their way to various parts of the world. Talk about mass evacuation, mass migration. Now, let us focus on the healthcare itself and where we stand as nurses and leaders. So we move to the far north with our posh ways of doing things in healthcare. Alas, with ash in our mouths, here and wherever else we could find a lodging place, we had to adapt to another way of life and the fact that we had to find new and better ways of doing things in a hostile environment. There, our lesson began. We learned not to be static. Nothing remains the same. And regardless to what is happening around us, healthcare is one of those things that can never stop, no matter what. Our hope. Rumors of plans to build a new state of the art hospital brought hope where before there was desolation. The year 2005 was not a bad year, but once again, healthcare professionals and nurses, to be specific, who work in conditions badly in need of improvement and modernization, found their hopes of a new hospital with much needed amenities and up to date healthcare facilities dashed among the rocks of what they had left behind in Plymouth again. And so, left with little choice but to care for the community which comprised loved ones, associates, and others, they continued like good Samaritans with the hope that one day, things will get back to normal. But alas, while we waited with hopeful but not bated breaths, these same nurses were in for a terrible shock in the appearance of a tiny spark called COVID 19 that swiftly and relentlessly turned into a global crisis. Like the rest of the world, coronavirus continues to test every single part of our infrastructure, giving us a new appreciation for what works and what doesn't. And once again, the nurses have had to rise to the occasion because we had hope. Capacity. There were times when our leaders were tested beyond the capacity, just like every other nation, while trying to lead the island through the coronavirus crisis. And that there will be lessons that we need to learn from this pandemic, there is no question. This includes what we've learned both from our healthcare system and about it, and within what capacity we're able to function without the technology or resources that exist outside our tiny speck on the horizon. We might not have financial capacity to build a new hospital with ICUs and state of the art machines badly needed for diagnostics and saving lives. But we do have the capacity to give our best efficiently and effectively with honesty and integrity. That the work continues every day as we strive to keep this virus under control, or rather away from our emerald shores, is imperative, no matter how mundane or trying the situation. We have seen the second wave emerge unexpectedly and frighteningly. The measures put in place were enough to stop it and return to sender without any great damage. We tip our hats to our various leaders who did everything in their power to control it and prevent it from reaching our shores again. And of course, we the nurses were on the alert like soldiers lying in wait for predator with our armor poised, ready to attack should the need arise. And so Corona came and left. We were shaken but not fallen. For every effort was made to get rid of it quickly with the same speed at which it came. And the struggle continues to keep it at bay from the shores of this paradise, even if it is just a semblance of what it used to be. And we must continue to be vigilant while thinking, if not speaking, you are not welcome here. Return to sender. Notwithstanding, there is a vaccine that some gratefully absorb while others dodge in uncertainty or even hostility. However, today I want to talk about what we've learned about the health and social care system in this country and the lessons we have learned along the way. For you see, whatever works for us in healthcare during the crisis plays on our emotional intelligence, showing us how it should best work in the future. So, the theme, a voice to lead, a vision for future healthcare, is a no brainer. We are told that in 2021, we are seeking to show how nursing will look into the future as well as how the profession will transform the next stage of healthcare. What lessons have we learned, if any? Are they worth taking forward? We've discovered things about our healthcare system and coping mechanisms which we could not have learned in normal times, including how we performed under pressure despite the lack of prior warning and equipment of which other nations boasted not enough, while we anxiously had no choice but to valiantly struggle to prevent loss of life in the absence of those same life saving equipment such as ventilators, unlimited piped oxygen, a temporary hospital with only a few beds, and I can go on and on and on. But the health department, our leaders, the doctors, the nation fought as if in battle, and they have won time and again in this tiny, almost forgotten nation with virtually nothing compared to other nations in the Caribbean. And so we move on. We have achieved things that, had we been told were possible, the answer very well would have been no way. How? Yet, we continue to achieve the impossible with little or nothing but our inner strength, experience, adaptability, and resilience. Some might question, what achievements? Let me name some for you. Like containing coronavirus and confining the spread to 7 people. Kindly tap yourself on the back. You deserve it. And what about ensuring that no patient became critically ill with a requirement for ICU, since we do not have the capacity to treat the most sick? Tap yourself on the back. You deserve it. And so we were forced to improvise new ways of doing things, some of which will become permanent because they are better ways of managing in the new norm. Before coronavirus, there were plenty of theories about how to lead health and social care into the future. But now we must agree with the forecast of the World Economic Forum that the future of healthcare won't just be defined by the innovations we set out to create. It will be equally shaped by how we respond to and anticipate the challenges and consequences of each great advancement. The more we know, the more known unknowns are revealed. That has been proven in our case without question. And so, in the post coronavirus world, we don't have to rely on anyone but ourselves. We must make the system work for us so that we can be empowered in all circumstances and eventualities towards successful outcomes despite the odds. We need to take what we have learned and build back better, capturing a culture that's open to collaboration and change. In the heat of the crisis, we saw a shared understanding that the needs of the patient really mattered. And importantly, that we value the contribution from everyone on the team. And that we are nurses, human in every way, and should be treated as such and be recognized for our contribution for the ultimate development of our communities and extension of the healthcare we provide. And there's nothing more important than saving lives because everything that exists is dependent on life. So life is nursing and nursing is life. From the minute the newborn gives its first cry to the moment the soul takes its last breath, a nurse is needed, you and me. However, there is quality and there is mediocrity. We must aim for quality at all times, value our patients at all times, value ourselves at all times, and be mindful of giving our best at all times, because how you treat another will determine whether you are life saver or life taker. You choose. Remember to work in collaboration. We work together. We work better when we work together. Have consideration. Consider each other. We cannot be selfish and achieve success. We cannot be selfish and achieve successful outcomes. We must show empathy for each other and innovation. That is not about coming up with the idea. It's about having the backing and the permission to make the change and working together for better outcomes. And getting rid of those attitudes and ways of working that stand in the way. We must value people and trust them as professionals. I mean, all people, care workers, porters, cleaners, clinicians, and our leaders. Everyone of every background, in every part of our health and care system, has a contribution to make, and everyone needs to be supported to do their best possible work. This is the mentality that we need. We want a healthcare system that is full of leaders, leaders at all levels. This is the principle that should be embedded in the healthcare strategy for years to come. Everyone at all levels should be thinking like a leader and being encouraged to use their initiative and take ownership for their decisions. And that means getting rid of what stands in our way, such as attitudes, and thinking our way is the only way and nothing should change. This we and they attitude must go. It cannot be allowed to stand in the way of patient care and positive outcomes. Saving lives. That's what we do best. Let's do it to the best of our ability. Working ethically, recognizing that others are watching, and if you have no, little, or no integrity, it shows. So be mindful of what you do and how you do it. Now, it's time to set clear ambitions in our minds about the future of health and social care in this tiny nation and fix any issue that stands in the way of our success. We should aspire for everyone to get the best care they need at whatever stage of life they are. Nurses, let us continue to promote quality care in our profession by ensuring effective care based on scientific knowledge and evidence-based guidelines. Safe care. Quality health care will minimize risks and harm to others. Timely care. There should be no delays in receiving health care. Saving lives is what we do best. Equal opportunities must be for all, to all, including ourselves. Efficient healthcare should be strived for. And let us give care that is people and culture centered, Be mindful of our multicultural communities and how we treat each and everyone. Given in the place that best meets people's needs by carers who are properly trained, recognized, and rewarded. Now, I just want to drop a hint here or ask the question which was asked in a different forum. Why can't our nursing leaders aspire to higher positions and be drafted into posts such as that of a permanent secretary? Since nursing is now standing side by side in academia with bachelor's and master's and even PhDs, why shouldn't they hold such a post? Isn't health what they do? I would love to see Nurse X as a permanent secretary in the future. And finally, who is caring for the carers? First of all, we must thank those in the community who have seen it fit to reward the nurses with self care incentives such as massages and finances for self care. For this, we are ever so grateful. Your kindness will not go unnoticed. I will I will now leave you with this reminder. Taking care of your physical and mental health is imperative and cannot be overemphasized. One, value yourself. Treat yourself with kindness and respect and avoid self criticism. Two, take care of your body. Taking care of yourself physically can improve your mental health, believe it or not. Surround yourself with good people. Give yourself, treat yourself, gift yourself, for you're human too. Learn how to deal with stress. Stress is everywhere. Quiet your mind. Set realistic goals and break up the monotony. Change up the way you do things. Be creative. So I hope that you will join me in this mission of effective and efficient patient care, self value, and self care through creativity and innovation. Because we are all leaders and role models in healthcare. Thank you very much.